Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to what I think is possibly the most special sighting you can ever possibly have out here in the African wild. It is a leopardess there, Karula, the queen of Djuma, and she's eating a duiker that she killed yesterday. We heard her kill it, and around here somewhere, we've yet to have sight this afternoon, are her two little cubs. They are now almost 3 months old, but they're not quite there yet. They will be at the beginning of next month. And it has been a rare privilege for us at WildEarth during the course of today to spend some time with these very special cubs and our favorite leopard. So welcome to it. My name is James. You are on a LiveSafari. Viam is filming. Hello, Viam. Well done. On the other vehicle today, Sam. He's looking for a male leopard that was recently seen crossing the Djuma Dam wall, and he's being filmed by David. And in the final control, we have got Kirsten being ably assisted by Louise Pavid. Now, let's go back towards Karula there. There is another vehicle moving in here, and we just hope that we're going to get a view of those cubs. We're going to sit here for a little while. We may move a little bit going forward, but I think, like most little animals, those cubs will need to sleep quite a lot. And so, after their very active morning, they're probably snoozing quite close by to where she is eating that duiker. Just a great privilege that we had to spend the time with her today. If you are a new viewer or have stumbled across this stream, you are live, or we are live. You're live with us, hopefully, and you can talk to us, #SafariLive or questions@wildearth.tv. We'll answer any questions you have, any queries about this magnificent animal, a 12-year-old female leopard and her 2-and-a-bit-month-old cubs, who were seen here this morning. And she's still, you may even hear the crunching of the bones as she eats the duiker. So just to reiterate, I know that some of your regular viewers, the protocol from here on in with these cubs at the moment, it's basically once they get to this age, it's up to the guide's discretion as to how many vehicles we have in the sighting and how many sightings we can establish. So we are here with 2 vehicles. That's what we're going to limit this to. And, you know, as long as there are only 2 vehicles in this established sighting, that will be fine. 1 or 2 more vehicles will cycle through during the course of the afternoon. And we will not be viewing them at all in the night time. They are able to climb trees now, these cubs. We saw them in a tree this morning, or I didn't, you did with Brent. And so they are able to climb now. That means they're able to defend themselves quite successfully against any potential attack from hyenas, of course, which is a major threat around here. Unrelated male leopards could also be a major threat, and Viam was just asking me as we drove in here, do I think that Quarantine, who is Karula's cub, who's now 3 and a bit, do I think he would harm the cubs? And I had to say I don't really know, to be honest, but it is possible. Now, I haven't looked in the branches of the tree underneath which I'm sitting. I'm just going to make sure there isn't a little baby fluff ball, golden and black spotted, above my head. Because they can hide quite successfully in trees like this. I don't think Karula would be quite as relaxed as she is if I was parked underneath one of her little babies. So let me take out these priceless binoculars and see if we can't see the little ones. John, the cubs are now, like I say, almost 3 months old, and you want to know if they're on solid food. They are, John. We saw the little cub eating this morning. They wean almost completely by 3 months. So yes, they're definitely starting to eat solid food now. They'll start eating it from about 6 weeks. And obviously they don't go through the same stages as human beings with mushed up butternut and squashes and that sort of thing. They go straight on to prime duiker rump. I'm just going to scan the bushes all around us here and see if we can't see those little ones. Oh, it'd be so nice. I was so jealous this morning. And Taxon spotted the first little one, and he spotted it up in a tree somewhere. I don't know which tree it was, but it was somewhere very close by to where we are now. So they will, much like their parents and brothers and sisters and ilk, go up into trees to rest. So we're just going to keep scanning the treetops around here. We'll hope, like I say, Sam is following up on a male leopard who's seen crossing the Juma Dam wall just a little bit earlier. And with any luck, you'll find that one. So, I mean, a tree like the one just underneath there would be an ideal place for a little leopard to sit. Caroline, I think you were watching one of our school drives the other day, and you were interested in how we'd know the difference between I think you want to know, sorry, excuse me 1 second. I'm just looking around, trying to see if I can see anything. Caroline, you want to know the difference between a cheetah and a leopard. Caroline, you would not confuse them if you saw them sitting next to each other at all. The leopard is much stouter, much more stockily built, much more muscly, much more compact. And I mean, the most obvious difference, of course, is the fact that the spots are different. The spots on a leopard are made of rosettes, or made into rosettes, form rosette shapes. And on a cheetah, they're just sort of normal spots, I guess, is the best way to put it. And so, Caroline, that's the most obvious answer, but there you can see those super zoomed rosettes. On a cheetah, they'd be plain spots. A cheetah is much more slightly built, a bit taller, quite a bit taller actually, and with a smaller head, and built entirely, over-specialized entirely for high-speed chases in open areas. Much thicker, heavier tail, which acts like a rudder. Much smaller teeth, because they need to open up space into the nasal cavity. Now, everyone, I hope you can appreciate that we're not going to sort of drive around here. Little ones could be under in. Just, yeah. Just somewhere. Yeah, I love this bush. You say, what kind of bush is she hiding underneath or behind? She's in what we call a variable. All right, well, while we scan the area, every minute little piece of slightly strangely coloured bush, let's go across to Sam, see what he's got to say for himself, and I'll see you back here in just a little while.
Good afternoon, everyone. Here we are sitting with a sweet baby giraffe with its mother just ahead of it, and a big male giraffe right next to the river. We've been tracking a leopard for the last 5 minutes because a leopard was seen on the Juma Dam wall, and it's been very, very difficult trying to locate. But these giraffes will do an excellent job at trying to help us. You can see that their heads are above all the trees, so as soon as they get a glimpse of that leopard, they will make a big sound. And you can see that that mother will definitely protect the youngster that is just behind her. Often in these situations, the mother will go and check to see that everything is safe and leave the youngster just in the foliage where you can see her now. And then we'll come back, call her and say, everything is safe, my young one, come and follow me. But my name is Sam Chevalier. On camera is Dave today. Dave and I have had some great encounters over the last few weeks. We've also got another friend with us today, and that is our little elephant over there, who's going to help us track the leopard that is currently walking around us at the moment. It's fantastic to be back out in the bush today. We had a fantastic morning in the western and eastern side. Today we drove everywhere to see if we can find anything, but those Karula cubs were the main attraction, and I'm sure James is sitting with him right now, so that's very exciting. But as you know, this is a live safari, so please hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, ask us some questions, and let us know what you would like to see today. Have a look at this beautiful male, and you can tell it's a male because of the ossicones that are on top of its head. They are rounded and not fluffy, and it is also prominent in a male to be a lot darker than the female. And you can see he's just following the female slowly. You often see this with the big giraffes. The big males will be following the females where he can. If she's an estrus, he'll do his best to mate. Look at the size of this giraffe. This is definitely one of the bigger giraffes that I've seen in my time here at Djuma. You can get a close-up on those ossicones there, please, David. You can quite clearly see that's a male, because normally with a female, you'll see the fur on top of those ossicones. And these have been rubbed down. And why have they been rubbed down? Because fights between other males. They will swing their necks. It's the most unbelievable show you'll ever see. And you can see she's looking at us. She's very, very aware that we are right behind her. So so not her, him, the big male. And that male will swing its neck and head around and hit the other giraffe, and can bring some very, very painful blows for the other male giraffe. Often you'll see on another giraffe big scars that are from dominant displays and fights. Oh, great camera work from Dave, following that neck all the way to the top of the giraffe. Diane, that's a great observation that you've made. Diane's asking, they shouldn't be that afraid of leopards. Well, Diane, they will still, show a predator that, that it's there. And also just remember that there is a youngster here. So a leopard would definitely be opportunistic enough to take a small giraffe if it was small enough to take. So if the big, large female, which is in the distance there, wasn't paying attention to a youngster, the leopard could easily come, take the young giraffe, and that could be the end of that show. So it's a good point that you just made there. He's a beautiful male, though. Those colors are just remarkable. Bella's asking, is this male lurking to try and get lucky? That could very well be the case, but he could also be part of this family. Sometimes the males would join the female and the youngster for a period of time, but a lot of the time the male's also trying to spread his seed, and that's often what male giraffes will do pretty much all the time. They'll go around on their own and solitary and then join females and youngsters. Sometimes it's a social act, sometimes it is purely to spread their seed. That's a great shot. You can actually see the shot of the female on the left of the screen. Can you see that from here, Dave?
Yep.
Amazing. You can see the female is not as big, but now you can see that fur that's above on those ossicones. And there she's chewing her cud. Very cool. So she'll be looking after that youngster as best as possible. But I would love to stay with these giraffes a little bit longer, but a leopard is in our midst, and it's somewhere around here. So we are going to go and see if we can find and locate this leopard. With that, let's go and see how James is doing with Karula.
We've just tried to get a slightly better view, everyone, but I'm afraid there isn't one. This is the best we're going to do. Yeah. It's the best we can do, I'm afraid, for now. If she was on her own here, and we knew she was on her own, then we'd definitely drive around her and see what else, try and get a better view. But I don't want to do that if those cubs are just the other side of this log, which I suspect they are, then we don't want to disturb them and give them a fright. I'm still looking into the bush here, hoping to see a little flash. A very salient question from Safari Dean that I think probably warrants a bit of discussion here. Safari Dean, you say, would she just let the cubs lie on the ground, given that she is got meat on the ground and it's probably not very safe in case there are other predators lurking around? Safari Dean, I'm not sure it's so much a case of allowing them to do anything, you know. I mean, they are very much acting on instinct, as far as I'm aware. I think that because it's the daytime, she will feel far less threatened by the chances of something like a hyena coming in here. The kill is fresh, it doesn't stink of rotting flesh, and so again, a hyena is unlikely to come in here. And I think the question's almost answered by the state we found them in this morning, with one up in the tree and one down on the ground. So clearly, you know, one felt safer up in the tree and the other one didn't. So I don't know, Safari Dean, that she would tell them to do anything. I think they act now purely on the instinct, well, as to whether they feel safe or whether they don't feel safe. It's a nice question, that. Parenting. Not easy for any creature, I don't suppose. I'm just staring, of course, into the bush here, hoping to see the very closely spaced spots of a tiny little leopard. We found nothing as yet. You will tell me if you see a leopard cub, won't you?
Cool.
Thanks. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Now, Robin, Liverpool, you definitely weren't watching this morning, I don't think. Rob, she had that kill up a tree. You want to know why it isn't in a tree? Is it too heavy? It's certainly not too heavy. It was a duiker, and so it probably weighed between 13 and 17 kilograms, which is not too heavy for a leopard at all. She put it in the tree behind her, and then this morning, while we were sitting here watching her, we found her in the tree with the kill. And then she brought it down, and she brought it down so that her cubs could feed on it. And that's why it's down on the ground, and that's why I think the cubs are close by. What's she looking at now? No, not much. She just looked behind her. Oh, I got so excited there suddenly. She might call the cubs to her, but they'll be here somewhere. And of course, we've talked about when they're going to wean and what they're eating now, and you know how she takes them 2 kills, how she feeds them. And in this case, she's taken a kill down the tree and let them eat it. And Elaine in Kentucky, you want to know when she'll start taking them with her on the hunt. Elaine, I've forgotten my book knowledge on this, but if I was to say what I thought, I think that by 8 months, a leopard is able pretty much to kill small enough stuff for itself. And in some cases, some female leopards have gone independent at 8 or 9 months. So she will take them, it's not really like with a cheetah where she will kind of take them on the hunt with her. She might bring back some small bits and pieces for them to kill so that they can, act on the instincts that will allow them to kill prey later on in life. But they don't actually accompany her properly on the hunt. They might sort of watch her at a distance. And they'll start doing that, I guess, probably from about 5 months. They're now able to move quite big distances with her, even though they are still very little. You can hear a rain locust shouting off to the side. Grrr. passed on to them from her placenta. I think that that's probably where the main sort of suite of antibodies would have come from. I don't know if there would be any within her milk. Maybe there would. I really don't know, actually. There are a few diseases, of course, that she cannot help them with. One of those would be rabies. Another might be feline AIDS, or FIV, which these cats are susceptible to. And of course, bovine tuberculosis is something also that a leopard can get, and indeed may well pass it on to her youngsters through the milk. Every time I see a piece of grass moving a little bit faster behind this log here, I think, there. You might also be able to hear the call of the emerald spotted wood dove going. She's looking. Where's she looking? Come on, call, Karula. You didn't come here for a haircut. You want to see your youngsters. So she was looking directly over the top of the log there. Now, that, of course, could mean that she's heard something like an impala approaching, or maybe even a hyena. I can't see anything there. Could also mean that there's a baby coming. Now, we don't know yet what sex these cubs are. It was suggested by Brent that maybe one is male and one is female, and that's quite a nice place from which to launch this next discussion from Virginia. Thank you for your question, Virginia. You want to know what will happen to them when they become independent. Will they set up a territory next to hers, or will they move on and go somewhere else? Virginia, a female leopard will set up a territory normally next door to her mother's if there is space, and I don't know if there will be space. Certainly Shadow is off to the west of us here, Tundi to the south, and maybe into Torchwood there will be a bit of space. It's highly likely that her territory will contract slightly as she gets older. She's now 12, of course. If it's a male, however, they will be around here, and they will roam quite widely until they're about 5 years old, and often then they have to disperse. If their father is not old and decrepit and is still maintaining his territory, then they will be unable to set up a territory around him, and they will normally disperse quite a long way. And that's important, of course, for genetic diversity. It's very important that the males do that every so often, that they move away from their natal territories, and in so doing spread the genes through the leopard populations. Very nice question, thank you. So you say, Viam, you don't think that looks like a nice Sunday roast?
Yeah, it's a bit rare.
It's a bit rare for you, is it? You like yours well done?
No, just not that rare.
Just not blue like that. Fair enough.
And hairy.
And hairy, yes. Now, I think there's a bit too much hair on it, certainly. Now, Wendy in New York, I wonder if you have a house cat at home. And this goes for anybody who's wondering about leopard behavior. You want to know if she will teach them, if they watch her climb a tree, if they will teach her to do that. And I think the answer is no, largely. I think largely leopards do things by instinct in the same way that your house cat, Wendy, if you have one, and those of you who do have house cats, will climb trees on their own. Nobody teaches them to do that, of course. They just do it. Nobody teaches a house cat how to stalk a bird or stalk a rat or a mouse. They just do it. And I think the same is very much the case for leopard. Cheetah, not so much. And leopard do a bit of coaching as the hunting starts to begin, but normally they're on their own. Well, they don't require any sort of coaching. We're so lucky to be sitting here with this leopard, but it does feel slightly like we're not getting the full value of our sighting without the little ones. I feel a little bit like that. I'd love to see them. But the little ones must have their sleep, I suppose. What's say Liam? Liam also likes to have his sleep every so often. He was going to come tracking to me with me this morning. He was very sad when I arrived home to tell him of my adventures.
You never even told me you're going to go tracking.
Oh, Liam.
You don't like my sleeping.
So what I did, everybody, I heard this duiker being killed last night. We didn't follow her in. It was getting dark. We didn't know where the cubs were, and so we didn't want to follow her off-road. So this morning I wandered in here on foot, and I was about sort of maybe 100 meters or 300 feet to the west of where we are now. I walked down and I saw a huge termite mound, and I thought that'll be a good vantage point, and I climbed up the termite mound. It must have been probably 10 feet in the air. It's a huge mound. And then I looked around and I spotted the tree. I spotted the duiker first in the tree, and then I looked a bit more closely with these binoculars, and over the top of the duiker I saw the ears of Karula, and she was watching me. Of course, they're very wily, these leopards. She was watching me like this, and I was probably about 75 meters, about 150 feet, no, 250 feet from her, and I was just watching her like this. And eventually she kind of decided I wasn't going to be a threat. She turned around, she lay down, and then I managed to call Brent in, and he discovered with taxon that the cubs were here. And I sat there for about 15 or 20 minutes just watching her lying in the tree. And it was just so special to be on foot with a cat like this and her not reacting at all to me. It was a very special Sunday morning treat that I had. You might be able to hear the sound of a helicopter flying overhead. I think they're doing a few game counts and census things. And maybe you can't hear it. Anyway, if you do hear it, that's what it is. They're doing some game counting. And somebody said to me the other day, why do you call it game? Basically, it's a hunting term. And the answer is, I don't know. It's a habit. Because most of these areas were first explored. Well, no, they weren't first explored. The first Europeans to come down into this area were hunters. And they referred to everything out here as game because they shot most of it, unfortunately. But I guess animal counting or animal census would be a better term for what those choppers are doing. See there, she's using those carnassial teeth of hers to scrape the meat off the skin. Oh, there she is. It's almost like she's saying to us, what do you guys want? Is there something here that you want to see? The answer, of course, is yes, please. Two things, in fact. I mean, I could happily sit here all afternoon. We're going to sit here for a little bit longer, and we won't be able to spend all afternoon here because I'm sure there are going to be other people who want to get in. While we wait, let's head across to Sam.
So we've just been looking for tracks of this leopard. It was last seen at the dam wall. I just walked down into the dam to see if I could find any more tracks. So you can see it's quite a sandy area. There's quite a few old tracks in amongst some of the tracks there. The plan is to see if I can relocate on it. So what myself and Dave and all of you with us are going to do is we're going to drive this block again just to see if we can hear any more alarm calls from a squirrel or even a bird. A testicular often gives an alarm call. Even a monkey will give us an alarm call. So we're going to drive this road again because my feeling is that it's walked down the drainage line, which is right here. And it's a very thick drainage line, so it's very hard to follow them through there. But as I said, the best way we can follow them is by listening to the different alarm calls. Sorry, I was just trying to hear, I thought I heard something that was coming down here. It sounded like a monkey alarm call, but I wasn't sure. It's difficult when I have this earpiece to try and hear that. But I think there's something, I think the leopard is just walking through here. So we're going to go down to the riverbed to see if we can find tracks there. If not, we're going to make our way to another position because we also heard monkey alarm calls going off there. So there's all sorts of stuff going on this afternoon. We know that they had seen the Birmingham boys again on our property. So there's every chance that we might be able to go find the Birmingham boys again, which would be ridiculous. 4 days in a row of big male lions. So we'll have one last look down here and then go up to the Birmingham boys if we can find them. Otherwise, enjoy that beautiful sighting with James.
No updates this side, everybody, but we will wait here for a little bit longer and see if the little babies don't come up. Like I say, if there are other people getting mobile on their game drives from Cheetah Plains and Torchwood and Buffelshoek, then we may well have to leave. But for now, it's just Johan and I, and so we'll sit here for a bit longer. Buffelshoek, of course, is a collection of private reserves, and I suspect, of course, also leaving out Djuma, they could well want to come down here, although they both did come. I think only one vehicle came in here from Djuma this morning, that was Tax, so maybe Aubrey will want to come down. But Buffelshoek being a collection of private farms, I think you'll find, given that it's a Sunday, many of the people from there will be heading home for work tomorrow. Liam, we'll be at work tomorrow, won't we?
I'm at work right now.
I know. Isn't it awful? Isn't it really rough to do the job that we have to do?
The grind.
It's such a grind. Liam, that is very sneaky and unkind of you. I may have been pulling a face or up, showing my bald head or something like that.
You signed a release form in your contract to go to you.
That, of course, is Liam's favourite trick. To come and face the camera at you, super zoom in on the ear that you haven't cleaned, and then think he's being very amusing. Now, Ravi in New York, oh, here we go. Ravi, I'm going to get back to you. Let's just see what happens here. You've asked about fear and whether the fear of danger is innate or a learned behavior, and what are my observations thereof. Come on, Karula. Show us your wee ones. She's not calling yet. And it might be that she's just stashed a bit more of the kill around there. Can you still see her, Liam? Let's just wait here, everyone, for a second. Yeah, that's where she buried, I think she buried a bit of the kill earlier today. There, she's calling. She's calling. Hold your thumbs, everybody. I'm just going to quit. Do you think they're there? Oh, I can't see. She's either licking her foot or licking something else. Ravi, let's just sit here a little bit longer and see. I can't really go forward without making a tremendously loud noise. So I'm not going to. I think she's licking her paw, everyone. I'm just going to quickly get on the radio. Ravi, I will get back to you. Sorry, hundreds of things going on here. Orbs, Karula is on site, but no view of the youngsters at this stage. Sorry everyone, I will get back to you now. Okay, copy, Orbs. I'll keep you posted. Yeah, we'll make space for you when you get into this area. Right, Ravi, quickly from you. Is fear an innate or learned behavior? Is the reaction to fear? I think probably like most of the behaviors that the leopards have here, I suspect quite strongly that it's a bit of both. I think they have an innate ability to react to certain situations, but maybe they don't necessarily know what a hyena is and whether that's a threat or not. That said, just about every single animal out here, if they see a human being for the first time, they react like a scalded cat. They go running away because they are terrified of us. And that can only be an innate behavior. No one's told them that. No one's taught them that. And certainly, I mean, in an area like this, the animals have no experience of human beings as being dangerous. I'm thinking we might do a little bit of a move and see if we can't have a look. I'm just going to talk to Johan quickly. Johan? Do you want to look in around that termite mound? Yeah, just stick your nose in there and maybe look this side, yeah. We'll get a view of the other side there and Johan will tell us what's going on there. And then I think we'll probably make our way out if the cubs aren't there, because Aubrey does want to come and have a look. I'm just watching Johan now. You can hear his vehicle moving. He's very sensitively moving. It's very nice to see. Diane, you're in Texas, and a very good question from you about where and when she would move the youngsters. Would she move them during the day or during the night? And when would be the safest? Diane, ironically, the cover of darkness might not be the safest time at all, because that's when all the other predators are mobile. I think she did bring them here last night because she killed it at last light. So I think it is entirely probable that she killed at least entirely probable that she brought them here under cover of darkness. But the cover of darkness is not necessarily a good thing for these leopards, the little babies, to move in, because like I say, the hyenas and lions and other male leopards are going to be moving around largely during the night time. Oh, I don't think Johan can see the babies. I think he would have told us by now. Oh, I don't think that they are there. But let's just wait here and let him stop. He has stopped. We can see 3 spots, of course. Any luck there, Johan? Okay. We'll just do a little move around, because we obviously can't see anything. And if we can't get a better view, we'll probably pull out. I don't know how long she'll be around here, everyone. I mean, it's possible that she'll stay for another day. I think it's unlikely, because I think the kill is just about done. She was calling off towards this sort of direction, so I'm just going to stick our noses through this area. Move very slowly, very easily, very gently. Just look, every meter we go, we'll just look deeply into the bushes. We don't want to make too much noise. I know this can be probably something of a frustrating process, but I know that you will all appreciate the need for the slowness and care with which we are operating right now. Now, she's just in front of us there. Here there, Yimpy. Sorry, Kirsten, you'll have to go again with that. I think she's also relieving herself. Cindy, you give me cause to use the old cliche, a leopard never changes its spots. Now that cliche comes from the fact that a leopard never changes its spots. You want to know if their spots are fixed from birth or if they will change. No, they are fixed. Now she's chuffing a little bit. That's that kind of coughing noise. And she's hoping those babies are in the thicket there somewhere. And with any luck, they're going to come out towards her. Come on, youngsters. Come and see your mum. I'm not prepared to follow her through that thicket, I'm afraid, everybody. It's very dense black monkey orange, and it's going to make a... You got them? VM spotted them. Oh, you... Yes. Well done. That is brilliant. Yeah, I can hear them calling now. Yeah, Han, we've got view of one, but quite a long way through this thicket. So we have pushed the zoom to its final limit, and that's why it looks a little bit out of focus, I'm afraid. Is that right, Viam? Yeah, that should be fine. It is coming towards her, if you can see her. I'm just helping your hun to see. Isn't that amazing? Look at the little eye sticking through. Here it comes, patiently moving forward. And this behavior, this sneaking through the bush, which is so leopard-like, is completely instinctual. Oh, this is going to be good. Come on now. Come forward, little baby. You still see it, yeah?
Negative.
It's in there somewhere, everyone. We just have to be very, very patient. But we got one view at least. Johan, I'm not sure if you can see her. She's gone to ground, so I think come forward, yeah? There she is. I can't see the little one there. Yeah, that was an absolutely astonishing spot you managed to get there. Well done. So, just to keep you posted, I don't think we're going to be able to be here much longer, but we did at least get to see that little thing. We will maybe sneak a little bit further forward depending on what happens here, depending on where your Hun stops. You can hear his car moving slightly over there, very quietly moving forward, just like we were trying to do. She is not vaguely phased by any of this movement, of course. And Fiona, you're in the UK, you've maybe noticed that these little cubs have got blue eyes. You want to know if that will change. Yes, Fiona, it will change. Sometimes they maintain blue eyes, but normally they change to the sort of yellow colour that you would associate with a big cat. Yellowy green. And I remember the last youngster I had experience of, which was Sandila. He was a year old when he went into rehab. He had maintained a fairly bluish tinge to his eyes. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mvula, my favourite male leopard, and I suspect the one who was seen on the dam wall a little bit earlier, he has got quite blue eyes as well, but that's unusual. Johan, have you got any view there? We don't have a view here. Have you got a view of the youngster? We don't have one here. No, negative. It stopped on the edge of the thicket in front of her. Anyway, everyone, as soon as Aubrey gets here, we are going to move out. We did get a view, so that's wonderful. But I think we've probably got another 5 or so minutes here, so let's hope we get another view. Orbs, make your way straight here. I'll move out as soon as you get to the opposite us on Philemon's cut line. And Monique, you're absolutely correct, of course, that in London, you are correct that the fear of humans could be passed down genetically from leopard to leopard through the generations. Yes, over evolutionary time, that is precisely what's happened with the animals of Africa, and it's precisely why the animals not in Africa react in slightly different ways to the animals that live here. So if a polar bear is a wonderful example, as is a crocodile, which see human beings as fair game completely. Whereas the animals here in Africa, which have a long history of human beings, a long history of seeing us, and a long experience of us hunting them, they, of course, are much more nervous of us. And so that is definitely genetic. The little one's calling again. You can't hear it, but it's going, meow, meow, meow. Come on, little one. Come out into the sun. Okay. There, she's calling again. That was me, not her. Just showing you. Okay, Johan can see them both. Copy, are they coming towards us at all? Oh, I can see them one there. Can you see it there? You got it there? Okay, Cub, I've got a view of one. Wimpy, we got it. Oh, there we go. Well done. This is so fantastic. Oh, we're so lucky, everyone. You just have to bask in appreciation here. And be thankful for the length of this zoom lens that we have. Oh, look. See it sneaking there? There, look under its tail. this is too special. Johan did see the other one, and Brent reckoned that one of them was a lot more nervous than the other. And I think... Oh, yeah, yes, here comes the other one. And Lynn, you reckon one of them is much smaller than the other. That is interesting. I'm not sure that the different sexes will necessarily make them different sizes at this stage. Maybe one's eaten a bit more than the other, but maybe one's a male and one's a female. And still trying to suckle. Oh, this is just fantastic. She comes. Oh my goodness, she's coming straight towards us. Wow. This is too special for words. I can't believe this. Good afternoon, Your Majesty. Those cubs are now only 10 feet from us. They're looking at the vehicles. They've stopped at the vehicle. They're taking the cue. Yeah, she's chuffing. She's telling them to come with her. Look, 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 look. Look. This is unbelievable. Oh my goodness. Okay, now. Orbs, I'm sorry, I can't move now. They're too close to the car. Just stand by where you are. I'll move out as soon as they move. No problem. Just stand by on the road there. I will come out as soon as they move. Is it growling, this little thing? I think this is a little male. I think that's a male. Oh, look behind its tail, everyone. See if you can... Yep, I would say that's a male. I might be wrong. People, this doesn't happen. You don't see this every day at all, do you? Okay, she's just growling at us now, so we're going to sit very still and I'm going to be quiet. She's just chuffing the other one forward now. There, it's a male. It's definitely a male. Confirmed male. Just sit still, everyone. Here comes the other one. It's very nervous. I'm going to sit very still. I'm not going to speak. Look, look, look. She's nervous. Yours, Aubrey and yours, they are suddenly come forward and they're lying right next to our car. I can't start the vehicle at the moment. I'm sorry about that. Yours, 2 cubs on lock, same place with Karula. I really would, I'd love to make a space for Aubrey, everybody, but I can't afford to start the car now. I simply can't. Look at this little female. I can't start the car with a female like that. She's very nervous. I'm assuming she's a female. Look, this is unbelievable. This is incredible. Look at this. Yeah, if yours, there will be no spotlight here. So yeah, you should make your way here. This is unbelievable. Aubrey, come in. 2 stations here. I'm trying to get out the sighting. I can't at the moment though. Aubrey, come in. Aubrey, come in. Orbs, come off road now on the track. I'm going to stay right where I am. If you come off road now on the track that you can see in front of you, you'll get them. You've probably got the view of them now. How awesome is that for them? Oh, isn't that wonderful? Aubrey's going to get an incredible view of them walking towards him. Yeah, she's got both youngsters there. Orbs, you take over the sighting now. I'll pull out. Everybody, was that not the most astounding sighting you've ever had in your lives? There's Aubrey. She's taking her cubs to see Aubrey, and who better to deserve it than Aubrey, because he's been here for so long. He's been here longer than Karula has. Apparently since he was about 16. He's now at least 104.
So you're one of the founding fathers.
Yeah. Fiam, I think we should probably high-five each other, don't you? Did you enjoy that?
Yes.
Was
Cuteness
that-
overload.
Cuteness overload. All right, everybody, we're going to head out of here and just bask in that absolute wonderment. Let's head across to Sam, everybody, and I'm just going to take a load off for a few minutes.
Hats off to James Hendry for providing you with probably the best sighting you'll ever see in your life. I've never seen that before. What was it like? Did you have a good time? I hope that you had a fantastic time. Well done, James Hendry, for creating such an experience such as that. Very, very privileged all over the world to be seeing something like that. So well done, James Hendry. On our side, it's a little bit different. You don't have cubs walking around in a car. But we are busy trying to track the leopard. And it's been very difficult, very skittish, very shy. And it was seen as it went into the drainage line. And we've just been driving this road to see if we can find any tracks, to see if it might have come out or not. The Birmingham boys are not far away. They're sitting at the dam. But they are to go and see them a bit later. We just thought, thrill of the chase, to see if you can find a leopard would be very, very exciting. And we'll definitely make our way to the lions in the next half an hour or so. So if you can bear with us while we track a leopard, why not? Janet's asking, has the wind died down a bit? Dave, will you confirm that it's pretty much gone?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, so the sun came out and it burnt away quite a lot of the clouds. And so now we're sitting with quite a humid, quite a hot afternoon. And yeah, I really wanted it to rain. It didn't rain, unluckily. But you know what? Hopefully, maybe in the next few days we'll get something, because the winter months are on their way and they are going to be very, very dry. So when we can get rain, we should get some rain. So Janet, if you want to give us a rain dance wherever you are in the world to help bring us some rain here in the bush, please go for it. Bring it to us. We need it. I mean, it's still very, very green, but it's also pretty much the end of summer, which is our rainy season. There wasn't as much rain as we needed. It's the driest I've ever seen the bush in terms of the summer period. But the excitement that comes with the summer, or with the winter, when there hasn't been a lot of rain, just means that there's going to be a whole lot more action. The animals are going to be fighting and competing for both water and food. So food will be where the water is, and you can imagine anywhere that's got water, like Buffelshoek, Stewart Pan, are going to be looked at by every Inyala, every Impala. Buffaloes are going to be sitting in them, and it's going to make life for the lions and the leopards a little bit easier than most winters they've probably had, which is exciting. And you know what, it's just nature, it's just the way the world works. And, people often make that misconception that herbivores are just as, whoa, shh, if we stay quiet, it won't go away. It's a steenbokkie. Let me see if I can get into a nice position in the steenbokkie. We've been looking for a leopard this afternoon, and this is exactly what a leopard would love to eat, a little steenbokkie. How lucky we were again to see that twice in one day. We saw them sitting, well, we saw one sitting like a rock, hiding beneath a plant this morning. And it was so cool because I don't think he realized that we were there, and we just got to look at its magnificence and its beauty. And I went back and I drew a little picture of that steenbok, which made me quite happy. But we also, as we're driving, we're listening to any bird call, alarm call, squirrel. Let's go and see what James is up to while I really open my ears to see what we can find.
I don't really think I can say anything. We're out of the sighting. Liam hadn't seen them before. I'd seen them once before. Sorry, just one sec. One of the Birmingham males is dead. Just going to turn on the radio.
What is feeling?
He's died at the back on Buffelshoek.
Anything?
So 4 of them are with Sam there, and just the one male.
Nothing.
And he's just saying there's nothing there that should indicate why he's died.
Yeah, but when you're on the eastern side of the dam wall and you look north, you will see him lying down here. Okay, copy that. Thanks. Yes, I'll maybe try.
Texan will go and have a look, and I'm sure yours from Buffelshoek will have a look there and see.
I'm not sure how does it work. You guys gonna report?
That is quite something. Wow. Don't know what to say about that. Not sure what's going on. I'm pretty sure the Sabi Sands will go and have a look there. It's all happening now. Sorry, Impalas, we're going to Cheetah Plains. We'll see you guys later. Yeah, I mean, who knows? The Sabi Sands will they'll almost certainly go and collect the carcass and find out what's going on there. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to ask Kirsten to send a message to the Juma group, Kirsten, if you wouldn't mind, and just get Mike and Candace to report it to the Sabi Sands, if you don't mind. And they're all now discussing on the radio what was wrong with them. And Kirst, just tell them to get hold of Jors if they need him. He's on the Game Drive channel. That's totally normal. It's purely, I mean, it's not unusual, especially with a big coalition like that. And he, I mean, I don't know who it was. Maybe it was Scrapper. You know, he seemed to be a bit of a loner at the best of times. I don't know. Anyway, the Sabi sound will hopefully shed some light on what happened. Hold on one sec. Everyone, we've let Mike and Candice of Juma know. They will then let the Sabi sounds know immediately. We've let Mike and Candice know. They will let the Sabi Sands know. Okay, copy. We've sent them a message on the phone. Alrighty, that's enough of that admin. Let's talk about life, the new life that we've just witnessed, the most fantastic sight of those two baby leopards. Only, what were they, about 5-6 feet from the vehicle. Karula brought them straight towards us. She did give me a little bit of a warning. She lifted her teeth. She probably gave Viam a bit of a warning too, because he's of course sticking out the back of the car. And then, once my voice quietened down, she stopped doing any of that, and the little ones came towards us. We know definitely that one of them is a male. He flicked over, and I don't know if you saw that very obvious kind of yellow patch underneath his tail, and I'm pretty sure that's a scrotum, and well, the other equipment that he has. And the smaller one, would most likely then be a female, I suppose, given that she is a different size, but we don't know that for sure. At least one male, unconfirmed one female. Wonderful stuff. She's taking them further, deeper into Juma, which is fantastic stuff. And that means that over the next little while, with any luck, we will have almost unfettered access to her, and we'll watch those little things grow up and develop. Hooray! I feel deeply satisfied. Well, here's an interesting one that I think could be answered both ways. Alex in Ohio, or you're interested in whether or not the Boulder Cub might survive better than the more timid one. And I think the answer is probably not, actually, because of course the bolder one is more likely to take chances, and as a leopard, the last thing you want to be doing is taking chances. As a leopard, your safest route to survival is to stay in the shadows. Don't stick your head above the parapet, and stay as kind of cautious as you can. So no, I wouldn't say so necessarily. I think it's totally normal for the little male to be slightly more rambunctious than his sister at the moment. Take her a little bit more time to get used to the vehicles. But that said, if we take the experience of the last two male leopards we had born to Karula, Quarantine and Kunyuma, we know that they have completely different personalities. Leopards do grow up with different personalities in the same way that human beings do. Kunyuma is much more cantankerous than Quarantine, who is chilled to the max, as they say. And Kunyuma, we know, will give the vehicles a little bit of a rev now and then. And so, yeah, it's quite possible that that's another male, and they just have a different personality, or that it's a female, and that brother and sister are born with different personalities, and it has nothing to do with the fact that they're different genders. I'm just listening to the radio again, trying to keep up with what's going on. It's all happening out here. Andrew calling in zebras. I thought it was something a little bit more exciting than that. Not that zebras aren't exciting, but after those cubs. Now, Mind Warp, you're wondering if there wasn't a lesson in some of Karula's behavior there. Was she showing that the vehicles are not a threat? I think indirectly, absolutely, that's precisely what she did. She walked them straight past us, basically underneath Viam's left hand, and she showed them. He almost could have reached out and grabbed one. Well, I'm glad he didn't do that. But I think there was an indirect lesson there. I'm not sure that she was thinking consciously to herself, well, let me show them that the vehicle's no issue. She has certainly, in the last little while, been a bit cantankerous around the vehicle, so I think it was very nice that she seems to be over that, certainly with regard to Rusty anyway. And yeah, so there's an indirect lesson there where the cubs will probably react slightly less nervously to us the next time we see them, which I think is great. But I don't know that there was any direct intention there. But we don't know, you know. We just don't know the answer to many of these questions. We don't know exactly how cognizant her thinking is when she thinks about teaching them. The scientists will tell you various things, but I think half the time they're guessing just like the rest of us. Basking I am, basking in glorious joy at the sight of that little leopard. And I think from the sounds of things on Twitter and on our email, everybody had just as good a time as we did with those little cubs. And yeah, we're not going to see that every day. I'm sure we'll see those cubs again, but to have them that close, and I guess the build-up was so great because we sat there for a while. I thought for a long time we were going to have to leave before we saw them, and then our patience paid off rather, didn't it? Yeah. They are now only 3 months. 2nd of May. 3 months on the 2nd of May. So they're about a week off that. And Ben, you want to know when they're going to leave their mother. Well, that's going to depend very much on the discussion that we were having earlier about the male and the female. The male will most likely stay with her for up to 2 years. So he can sort of, between 18 months and 2 years is when he'd disappear. The female can go as independent as early as 8 or 9 months. That is very early though. Most likely, especially if she's got a male sibling, you will have to spend time with mum a bit more than she will. I think probably around 14 months or so, 14 or 15 months, she will probably go independent. She won't then own a territory though, but she will stay on her own within her mother's territory, and then she'll slowly kind of carve out a niche over the years after that, until when she's about 3, she'll have her own territory and probably have her own babies. The male, just like human babies, they tend to mature a little less quickly than the females, and they take a bit more time to let go of the comforts of home. So you might lose us as we go through this dip here. We are heading towards Cheetah Plains. If you do, I'm sorry about that. We'll see you the other side. Kirsten, we still got signal? We still all right? Sam's just trying to get into the Birmingham boy sighting, so I'm going to stop here because I think we will lose you if we go any further. So we'll just stop here and have a listen. And James Bear, a lovely one from you. We had an incredible sighting the other day of an African hawk eagle, 2 African hawk eagles, and you're wondering if there's a bird of prey that might try and take those little ones. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there would be. And what birds of prey would they be? Well, I guess at night an owl might. Giant eagle owl could easily eat a little leopard cub that age. A martial eagle would certainly perhaps try and take one, a tawny even. So they're still quite vulnerable, but you know, they live in such thick bush mode. You saw the and safe if they any right, we're going to ease down this road. We might maintain signal. Listen, you let me know if you want me to stop. Sam's just trying to get in. Oh, we can go straight across to Sam. He's at Buffelshoek Dam looking for their 4 remaining Birmingham boys.
Right, we've just arrived at Buffelshoek Dam. There's been reports that the Birmingham males are here somewhere. We're just going to see if we can find them. We're not sure where they are exactly. We just spoke to someone on the radio now. So we're not completely sure on the events of this afternoon, but I think as soon as we can find them, we can get to know a little more about what's going on with the Birminghams this afternoon. So they're either on this road or that road over there. Let's see what we can find. I must say, it's been a very interesting afternoon. All sorts of things have happened. We've just heard alarm calls from every direction. There's a buffalo just into the bush, into the thicket there. There's been all sorts of sightings going on. It's been a strange, almost like an eerie feeling with this cloud cover. Wow. Very interesting art. It is the circle of life. That's exactly it. Things change. And it's Kimmel, they do change. And it seems that we're trying to find them at the moment. I think they could have been on that road over there. You know, make our way in that direction. It's a strange feeling. Let's go and see what's going on. Let's go and uncover this case. Okay, we're just going to turn around. Just going to turn around and see if we can find them. Apparently they were lying up on the road. 2 roads ahead in an easterly, southeasterly direction here. So we're going to go back and see what we can find. But it is the circle of life. I mean, from looking at those sweet baby cubs to the demise of a male lion. That's exactly it. Just gonna listen to see if we can hear anything. There's some buffaloes over here. Probably not the safest place to be right now, men. But there is the loss of a character, so that might change the story. But I just want you to get that feeling. I can't help it. I'm feeling it's very eerie. It's the only word I can give to the situation. What happened? What is going on? I'd love to know. All right, this has got to be the road. I said they were sitting up on the eastern side of the drainage. Fiona just noted that it could have been the Birmingham that we saw yesterday that was injured. It could have very well been. I'm very keen to find out what that story is and which male lion it is. I'm just going to get hold of Grant, who was the last station that was here. Try and get a reading for where these lions are. Grant, do you copy, Grant? There's vehicle tracks that are heading off here. So maybe this could be it. Let's have a look. They did say that they were on the eastern side of the drainage line. Can you see any tire tracks there, Dad? There's no tire tracks here. There's no tire tracks here. Let's have a look over there. Where are you, big boys? They've been reduced to three. 3 men now left in the coalition. Okay, they don't seem to be here. I'm just going to try and get hold of Grant, because he is the last station that was here. Grant, do you copy Grant? Sorry, Grant's radio has been down. Could you please just give another... are they sitting in the middle of the road, on the road to the east, or are they into the block towards the eastern side of the dam? They're literally on. Okay. Copy. I just found tire tracks going off, so I followed those. There we go, we found them. We found them, everyone. Here we go. Are you ready? Let's go and see how the boys are doing. We know that there are 5 Birmingham boys, so one of them is having a wee there, and they've been reduced to 4. So where that other male lion is, I'm not sure. But here we are with them. Incredibly lucky to have spent some time with them over the last 4 days. As I've said, male lions will move very far distances. So to have them in our property for all this is very special. That they have lost a brother. You can see all of them aren't in the best of shape. But they definitely fed last night. Their stomachs are a little bit fuller. Donna's asking what will happen to the dead lion. Donna, from my understanding, they will contact the reserve, like the people that are in control within the Sabi Sands, which is part of the greater. So we are part of the Sabi Sands, which is 60,000 hectares big, and we traverse on Djuma, Arathusa, and Shida Plains, which are the smaller lodges and areas that we can go, which occupy probably about, I think, about 3,000 hectares. And so there's a body, a governing body, that will then take action to what they will do with that male lion. Whether or not they leave it in that position to continue that circle is something I'm not aware of. I'll be very interested to find out what happens with the male lion. I think it's just about just letting people know. I don't think they're, like everything will die in the bush at some stage. So that's what I think. But we'll let you know exactly what happens. But here, now they're reduced to 4. And that will make all the difference to these Birmingham boys. You can imagine 5 is a lot stronger, a lot more powerful. As soon as the other coalitions that are around the area that are a little bit stronger than a pack of 4 will definitely start to make some sort of noise in terms of their dominance for territory, and they want to take over more land. So these boys are going to have to defend their territory and make up for that lost brother. We can see now that they are... Just hold on, I'm just going to go here. Go ahead. a firm grant. I'm with all 4 of them. So some are thinking that it might be Scrappy that was lost. I'm not very aware of who Scrappy is. Chris, could you go ahead with that again? Oh, it's Scrapper, not Scrappy. So Scrapper is the one that might have been taken, not taken, but died. And how it died would be quite fascinating to find out. I wonder how aware they are of the brother. See, initially what I thought was that it was someone within this group that had died. So I was very confused. I was driving up here and I thought one of these boys had passed away, but it was obviously the one that we haven't been seeing for the last couple of days. But if you have a look there, the one that is moving his tail like that, have a look at that darkness around the back of its paws and its arm there. That is a mange. You can see that it's got progressively worse, and that could have been because of a fight or a scrap that they had, and the skin didn't heal properly. But he's definitely not looking in the best condition that he can. And you can see he's moving the most out of the others, purely because a lot of the flies are coming towards him and he's slapping them away. There you go, you can see him moving that tail often. Yet the one looks very relaxed. He's got his legs up on his brother there. You see, he looks very uncomfortable. Looks very uncomfortable. But it's been really sitting with you 2 days ago. While they were walking across our vehicle, they looked very, very strong and dominant as they walked. Their manes were flaring in that morning sunlight. So I don't want to paint a picture as if they're not strong. It's just that they are not looking as big and healthy as they could be. So they're still very, very strong males, and that's beautiful. Look at that. They're still very strong males that will be able to protect and conserve their territory. Not conserve, sorry, protect it and sit with them and look after their females. As we sit here with the lions, let's go and see how James is doing.
Well, everybody, we're making Viam's world premiere here at Cheetah Plains. Viam, what are your impressions so far?
Very nice.
Very nice, good. Well, I mean, if he thinks this bit's nice, wait till we get to the clearings, which we're about to explode onto now. We're on Owl's Nest Road. Viam wasn't particularly impressed by the fact that we were on Owl's Nest Road, but his face did light up a little bit when we saw Cheetah play at least 3 in a row pan. He was very pleased with that. While we drive along, it is important, of course, for me to let you know that Viam's video of his holiday in the Kalahari is now live on YouTube. Viam, where will they find it?
My Facebook page.
Your Facebook page. Check him out. Amazing video of his trip to the Kalahari, and just demonstrates how wonderfully diverse the landscapes and animals of this great country are. We're going now towards Cheetah Plains Pan, which is in the big clearing there. I think that's where we're going. Check my map. Yes, eventually that is where we will fetch up. And nobody else is on this reserve at the moment. I think Mike is on leave, and Andrew and Ephraim are both either on Torchwood, Buffelshoek or Djuma. And so we are alone here, which is just wonderful. Not because I'm being antisocial, but because it just gives you a nice feeling of wilderness to be alone on a piece of land like this, exploring, where anything could happen around any corner, or nothing could happen around every corner. Watch out. Deborah, you're in Ohio and you want to see the world's largest bird, the ostrich, and you want to know why it is that we see them here and not at Djuma. Deborah, it's only to do with the fact that the habitat here is more open. So not where we are now, this is the sort of standard issue Cambritan woodland of the Sabi Sands on the granite-derived sandy soils. But as we go out into the clearings, that's what ostriches like. And it's the same reason we're more likely to see jackal here. Same reason we're more likely to at Cheetah Plains. It's because of those plains. And yes, we will certainly try and look for some ostrich. I was reading about ostriches today so that I might tell you some interesting things about them. I ran out of things to say about ostriches quite quickly the other day because I realized I hadn't seen one for so very long. I think we're still on Owl's Nest Road. Liam, do you think we're still on Owl's Nest Road?
It looks like Owl's Nest Road.
It does, doesn't it? Which in turn looks like all the other roads. We're about to pop out into the clearings now, and there we will find the Cheetah Plains pan, and with any luck, a giant herd of elephants will be swimming merrily around it, doing their afternoon exercise. Brent had an amazing sighting of a little elephant having a swim there 2 days ago, or yesterday morning, and the temperature's plummeted somewhat since then. It's quite nice. Much cooler than it has been. Alright, Shabiyam, are you ready? Are you ready to behold the great plains of Cheetah? As we come around... I promise you what?
Quarantine.
I don't think I promised you quarantine. I said he does like to hang around here though. Here we go, Liam. The world is about to unfurl in front of your eyes. Sore amazed you shall remain. Ta-da! What do you think, Liam? Are you impressed?
Very open.
Very open. Unfortunately, fairly heartbeat free. And that off to the north there is Nkoro, just over the next ridge. Now, James Richard, I'm thinking precisely the same thing as you. You are hoping that we get a jackal sighting today. Well, let's drive through here and we might just have that. I had the couple of side-striped jackals in this clearing, and in the clearing beyond, the black-backed jackals. So let's see if we can't find them side-striped jackals again here. Now, of course, if you're a stock farmer in the Eastern Cape or in the Karoo, the thought of wanting to see a jackal would be complete anathema to you because they are notorious stock thieves. But out here, in the wilderness, it is a rare joy. They will, of course, probably be lying very close to the ground. So we will be looking for ears sticking up from behind a bush next to a tuft of grass. See any jackals, Liam? That silence means no, everybody. Sorry, Kirsten, I'm reading you 0 out of 5 at this stage. Our aerials are all up. Ah, thank you. Apparently lots of you have seen VM's video and are commenting on its brilliance. Well, I think it was a very brilliant piece of work. There is a Swainson's Franklin. Now, it's not very unusual, but we don't often see them here. There's two Swainson's franklins. Let me just try and get into a position where we can see it with the super zoom. There we go. They're not common, and they are very fast. I'm sure some of you who've been keeping your bird lists for not the longest time will not have the Swainson's franklin on your list. And if you're wondering, if you perhaps got a South African bird book, the Swainson's, oh there he is, the Swainson's franklin is differentiated from the red-necked franklin in that the red-necked franklin has red legs. So in the typical tradition of ornithologists, they've named the red-necked franklin after its red neck and not its bright red legs, which distinguish it completely from any other franklin. I'll show you what I mean now, once we've finished the view there. There we go, he's disappearing off. I had a wonder. I'm going to tell you a story about a Swainson's franklin, which will have, well, I mean, look, it won't leave you absolutely astounded, but it's quite a nice story of the wild. I'll quickly show you these two franklin species that we get here. Well, we don't get the red-necked here, but the tradition of ornithologists to be ridiculous is no better illustrated by these than by these two birds. There is the Swainson's franklin, and you can see it has a red neck and a red face, not unlike the red-necked franklin, which also has a red face and a red neck, but it also has very obviously red legs. Now, why you wouldn't call that bird the red-legged franklin or spurfowl as opposed to the red-necked franklin when it shares that feature with the Swainson's, well, that's just ridiculous, frankly. And it's a bit like my favorite bugbear with the ornithologists, the black-collared barbet, whose most obvious feature, of course, is his bright red head. Yes. See? Why would you call that bird a black-collared barbet when clearly its most obvious feature is the fact that it looks like it's had its head buried in a bottle of ketchup? Who knows? Many such examples there are in the world of ornithology. Kirsten, I am afraid I'm not hearing you at all. So if you need us to link, you're going to have to click twice. Okay? There is a great group of hornbills there. Yellow-billed hornbills. Oh, and we had such a wonderful sighting today of one of the yellow-billed hornbill's favorite foods, and that is the flap-necked chameleon. Incredible sighting of a flap-necked chameleon today on our way back from playing touch rugby, the results of which I shall not tell you because it's embarrassing. But these chaps are one of the few birds that will specialize in eating flap-necked chameleons. That's a youngster. His bill isn't quite at full size yet. He was probably born sometime during the summertime. He just has that look about him, doesn't he, like a naughty kid. Ah, it's a great view of a yellow-billed hornbill. How skinny his neck is, that's also quite indicative, I suppose, of his young age. Fluffed his feathers out, it's a bit cold for him. I always feel a bit sorry for these birds as they go into their first winters, not knowing what to expect. That is a fantastic picture of this bird. Hey, look at that. You can also see when he opens his beak at this distance, you can see that it's not quite toothed, but it's not smooth. And well, that's probably got something to do with what he eats. So, I mean, I'm sure that sharpness on the sort of edges of the bill breaks when he eats hard food. I think you'll probably find that it's quite useful, a little bit like a serrated blade. So it's just the beak's not quite flush on itself. The top and bottom mandibles, just not quite flush, and I'm sure that enables them to use the beak a little bit like teeth for chewing. This is one of the best yellow-billed hornbill sightings you'll ever have. Also preening. Now, despite the fact that that bill looks like a horn, and it looks, seems, where did he found a little grub there, I think? Found a little grub underneath the bark. That bill, despite the fact that it looks sort of, I mean, it is very hard, but it's also extremely sensitive and extremely accurate. He's eating bits and he's eating bark. Yeah?
Looks like it.
A bark-eating hornbill. Very strange. Maybe he was eating it for his gizzard. There goes the pearl-spotted owl. Two of them. Marvelous. Right, I'll tell you my story about the Swainson's Franklin now. I was living in Johannesburg for quite a long time. Well, I grew up there, but then I went to the bush, and then I went back to Johannesburg to teach the guitar to the ungrateful children of the rich. That's not strictly true. I just like to say that because I was one of those children, of course, at one stage of my life. Not that the rich part of it was. No, let me stop there. Anyway, I was in Johannesburg, and it wasn't a place of wilderness. There are a whole lot of wonderful kudu in front of us. There's the male with his harem. Oh, Viam, quickly to the right. Ground hornbill. Fantastic, yet again. We've seen these ground hornbills every single time we've come here. Now, I've never noticed this before, and we had a question while we were driving home the other day about the open-billed stork and whether we get it here, and I showed you a picture, and I said it's the only bird that has an open bill. I lied. There is a bird with an open bill. I've never noticed that before. See the gap between the front and the top and the bottom mandible. Let's just sneak a little bit forward. I will tell you my Swainson's Franklin story. I know you're all champing at the bit to hear it. There's another one, way across the clearing there. I'm just going to get round this bush, and then you'll be able to see it. You can already see it. That's because, of course, we are now in the plains of Cheetah Plains. There we go. Now, I have to tell you, they haven't let us get this close to them before. There you can see the extent of that bird. He stands about 3 feet tall. He's probably 3.5 feet long from the beak tip to the tail tip, but he does stand 3 feet off the ground. He's very elegant walking there. And Cecilia, yes, you're absolutely correct. Beak and bill do mean the same thing. They're used interchangeably. I'm not sure of the etymology of either word, I'm afraid. But, yeah, you can use them interchangeably. He's looking under some elephant dung there to see what he can find. And again, despite the fact that that is a sort of chisel-like beak, he is able to pick up individual termites. I think that's just what he's picked up now. He'll have to eat many, many termites to satiate his stomach. Oh, itchy beak. This is a wonderful, wonderful sighting. Now, we might also be able to tell whether that's a male or female, and you tell that, of course, by the blue that occurs in the middle of those red wattles underneath the beak. And we'll see if we can get a better look there. Every day there's a Twitter handle highlight. It's the female who has the blue patch there, by the way, so we'll have a look at whether that one does or not. Or busted. Yes, I think that is the Twitter handle name that I heard. You are interested in whether or not these birds nest in bushes or where they nest. They don't nest in bushes or busted, and it's one of the main reasons that they are endangered like they are. They nest in tree holes. And the only way that they are able to nest in tree holes is to obviously find an enormous tree with a big hole in it. And those are few and far between out here. Jackalberry trees and scotia trees would be two examples of those kinds of trees. And you find them in protected areas, but outside of protected areas you hardly find them at all. And also, they reckon that in a place like the Sabi Sands, where there is so much water, the elephant concentrations are probably that much higher, and so they push over quite a few of the larger trees that might suffice for a ground hornbill. This is wonderful. I can actually see three of them now, Viam. There's another one just through. Could you see this kind of bush behind us? There. Go, yep, there you are. There he is. And then the other one is where we showed it to you a little earlier. And the last time that I was here, it was just this flock of three. And I wonder, let's quickly turn around. I wonder if it's the same one, because Brent was here 2 days ago and he saw 5 of them together. Just because I showed you leopard cubs, you have to film the sunset today. Okay.
But then you owe me quarantine as well.
Okay, deal. Oh, and Kirsten says there were 6 ground hornbills here the other day. So maybe this flock is larger than we think it is. There, everybody, is the glorious Sunday sunset. Basking as we are in the light of the golden sun and the joy of Karula's little baby cubs, the prince and princess, who I think we should name George and Charlotte. That, of course, will be vetoed by anybody with any sense. And James Richard, precisely, you say, from elation to sudden grief, that is nature in a nutshell. It is. And there's that quote I've used before of David White's, where he says, the wilderness will just as soon kill you as it will look after you. It is ambivalent. It is full of life and joy and wonderment and terror and death at the same time. And I think that's why we love it so much. Not so, Viam. Alrighty, let's continue down to the south before it gets a little bit dark. We'll get a good look at the main plains of cheetah. Right, now the Swainson's Franklin story, in case if we probably see ostriches and cheetah before I get it done. But what I used to do on a Thursday afternoon, I would go off to the golf club at 3:30 in the afternoon and play 9 holes on my own. I played on my own for 2 reasons. One, I'm an absolutely horrendous golfer and therefore struggle to find anybody patient enough to play with me. Secondly, it was very nice to just have some lone time after I'd been teaching children to play the guitar all day. So I'd go out into the golf course, and by that stage, of course, there's hardly anyone around. And one winter's evening, it was cold, the sun had just gone down, it was late winter, so it was just about the time that, the first hints, tongues of spring were starting to touch the night, but it was still chilly. And the sun had gone down, and I was going up the 9th fairway, and it was unusual for me to be on the fairway at all, and it was dark. It was already almost dark because I teed off late, and so I was the last person on the whole course. There wasn't another person there, and I hit my second shot and obviously shanked it, and it went wide into the bushes, and so I went fossicking about in the bushes for it. And as I stood there, I stood up. I found the ball, I think, eventually, and I stood up to go and fetch a club that I might try and hit the ball out of the bushes. And suddenly I just stopped, and I breathed in and I inhaled, because a scrub hare moved out. This is in the middle of Johannesburg, so I think Africa's second biggest city. Moved out of the bushes onto the fairway, and I watched it go, and then a Swainson's Franklin came out of the bushes as well and started feeding. And it was the most wonderful touch of the wild in the midst of all the madness of Johannesburg. And I could just vaguely hear the traffic out sort of to my side, and I was cocooned in this little piece of wilderness. And it was a wonderful experience, and I always think of it when I see the Swainson's Franklin. I think I shot about 10 shots for that one hole. That is a wildebeest. Now, Viam, you don't know this, of course, but you do know that Brent Leo Smith, aka Big Loud Noise, Big Loud Sound, sorry, doesn't like to name animals. You know that, don't you? He thinks we shouldn't name animals. Mm-hmm. Do you know what he did the other day?
Named an animal?
He named that very animal there. He called it Gnorman the Gnu. And he will never, ever, ever live it down.
He did name the one-horned impala as well.
That's exactly correct. He named the one-horned impala Nelson. Anyway.
He already named it Harvey.
Harvey? Did he call it Harvey?
No, that was the old name.
Oh, was that the old one? Oh, he changed the name as well. Yeah, he's right into it then. So just try and absorb. Oh, there's some elephants. They're in Mala Mala, but we'll go and look at them anyway. Before they go too far into Mala Mala. We do have the super zoom with us. Sorry, Gnorman. Gnorman looked up suddenly as if he was very hurt that he was no longer going to be on camera. Now, the jackals we had were in these clearings the other day. Let's just quickly go and have a look at the lions while we try and get into a position to view these elephants.
Here we are sitting with the Birmingham males again. They, as you can see, all three of them are sitting up nice, close and tight together. There's one that is just slightly to the side of them, but have a look at them as they are wrapped in each other's arms. It's a very, very special thing to see. Look at the two paws that are wrapped around the male lion's head. They are such social animals, these lions. It's so cool to see that. They are ferocious animals, but when it comes to the love for their brothers, it's very, very strong. And it is sad to hear that they've lost a brother, but as we quite clearly had a conversation earlier about that circle of life that is very present. What comes will come back, and there will be a new line that will either take dominance, or these four boys will be able to look after themselves, protect their territory. And you can see they're very close as they hold on to each other's muzzles. What I've decided to do is with each one of them now, as we sit here, this could actually be the last time that I sit with these four. I said that yesterday, not the last time. I meant to say last time for a couple days. And so I just wanted to see if we could just sit with each of them and pick up some of the things that they have. So let's zoom in to the first one here. Let's have a look. So I've got my notebook here, and I'm taking notes on each of these lines. And the first thing that I'm noticing from this line is the darkish mane on top. He's got that blackish top with the black ears. If you are noting anything else, I would love you to please hashtag Safari Live on each of these lines as we go through them. We can take our time with them, but I'm just writing down a few things in my notebook. If you think the one at the bottom of the screen, to the middle, or to the top, or to the left has any significant feature, please will you hashtag Safari Live, and I will write it in my book so that we can have a good understanding of the differences between these boys, because I really want to get to know them a bit better. So the first one, having a look, has got a dark mane on top. Just noting that. It has very blackish, dark ears. You can notice there that there is significant scarring all over his face. Have a look at those scars, and that would have come from any kind of dominant fights that they would have had. So I'm sure all of them have that scarring on their face. But it seems that this one has got a very... Have a look at that one just above his eye there. You can see there that there is a strong scar there, so I'm going to write that down. Strong scar on upper eye. So let's move to the one just next to it. And there we go. Okay, so there's one that has a very pink nose. That's one that we can't see now, just to the right. There we go, to that nozzle. Look at that pink nozzle. And that often is because they're around 5 years. So he's probably the youngest one out of this coalition. The pink nose is a sign of youth. So one of them has a very significant lower pink nose. I'm going to call you Pink Nose for now, just so I remember you, because I want to try and understand a little bit more of each of them. Ooh, there he goes. Rubs his brother. Check how close they are together. This is not something I've seen before, but they are really this close. So I've identified 2 features, significant features, on 2 of them. The one at the back over there, if you can see it, over there you can see that there is some dark mange on that one. So I've written down on that one, and he has got some significant black patches on him. He's got a dark upper body. So that's how we're going to get to know you. And have a look at that belly again. Very, very full. Seems that it's just eaten. So they would have eaten maybe just last night. So we've now made some good differences between them, and that's just, if you want to follow that, I can take a picture later of the notes that I've taken of all 4 of them, from the darker colors to the pink nose, and we can watch their progress over the next few months to see how they grow as a coalition of 4 rather than the coalition of 5. The one in the middle, I can't really have a good visual on. He's wrapped by his brothers. He is fast asleep though. Have a look how fast asleep he is. So Thank you very much, Angie. You've just noted that the one with the pink nose is the youngest. Thank you, Angie, for noting that. They're starting to wake up a little bit, although their body posture doesn't show that. Look how cool that is. If you want to screenshot that, it's 4 male lions facing our direction. And the day is coming towards an end. And it seems that it's been a much cooler day. So there's every chance that these lions are going to get a little bit active than usual. Last night was a very, very hot night, and they only got up at around 6:30 is when they started walking. And because today is considerably cooler, it might change their behavior in such a way that it makes them get up. And we've noticed that there are buffaloes in the dam. So there is about 3 buffaloes that are sitting in that dam. So there's every chance that we might have some. But whilst they're still flat and we're taking notes on the different lions here, let's go see what James is doing.
James is up to putting his jersey on. Just make sure my microphone is in the usable place. Hello. There we go. Nothing on the plains except Gnorman. We did see an elephant and he disappeared into Mala Mala, so we left him and we're now patrolling the southern boundary of Cheetah Plains, and we'll shortly head back up towards the north. Nice to see those lions. They're sad that they are in mourning. Well, I'm not sure they are in mourning, but certainly we're a little bit in mourning, and it'd be nice to know which leopard, which lion that was. We'll find out from yours. I'm sure he took some photographs, and we'll also, as far as we can, get some information from the Sabi Sands as to how that lion died. There are some beefaloes. There's a herd of buffalo, everybody, moving up north into Cheetah Plains, very slowly and sedately, as is befitting a Sunday afternoon. And you will think it was indeed Scrapper that met his untimely demise on Buffelshoek. I wonder if he wasn't eventually flattened by one of those Salati males, or both of them. There was a big fight there the other day. And James, you've got a question for me, James, about what we'll do with the lion. Well, we won't do anything with it, but you want to know if it will be disposed of or left to kind of be eaten by the scavengers. A lion, because of the diseases that there are out here, a dead lion is actually something of a biological or a research boon. So no, I don't think it'll be left there at all. I'm pretty sure they'll take it, they'll do an autopsy, they'll check on whether it's got TB, was the TB affecting it, all that sort of thing. So I don't think that they will leave the carcass there at all. I think that would be a waste of a research opportunity. This is the back end of this herd. The rest of them are just up ahead here. They're walking on the sort of fire break between Mala Mala and Cheetah Plains. Here we go, VM. They're about to come into view. How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10 to film these buffalo? 5. Oh, shame. That cow's missing half a horn. And there are a whole lot more to the north of us that I can hear. She's got a very strange hairdo. And as somebody pointed out yesterday, I think it was Louise actually, she said to me, don't you think their horns look like different hairdos? And I have to agree with her. I think that's exactly what they look like. It gives them such a unique look. Well, they are heading towards the north. We are in Styx Pride territory. It would be so nice to see them again, especially as one of them, I think, has got some cubs. We've had a bit of a baby boom here of late. Shadow, Styx lionesses, Karula, 2 pregnant Nkahuma lionesses. We also had a fantastic sighting of a newborn buffalo the other day. Just listen to them scraping gently through the woodland. You hear their footfalls on the leaf litter. Just keep watching. There's a baby at the back of the herd who I don't think is long for this world. You will see why in about 1 minute. Yes, still us, same place you saw us. Yes, Haylene, I agree with you. While we wait for this little baby who's limping quite badly at the back there, you say that their horns look like Pippi Longstocking. They do a bit, and of course we have our own Pippi Longstocking in camp. Rebecca does her hair every so often in the manner of Pippi Longstocking. There you see limping. I wonder why. That's not good. A predator would realize that within seconds and target that little baby, and the others would do nothing about it. Well, they couldn't do anything about it. And sometimes, you know, if it isn't eaten by a predator before it recovers, the rest of the herd will just move on. If it can't keep up with the herd, they'll just carry on. They can't afford to hang around behind and wait. Anyway, they're all melting off into the woodland here. And I'm sure they're probably heading up towards Cheetah Plains Pan in the clearings. Right, well, we're going to turn north up our next road and then head onto the northern boundary of Cheetah Plains and slowly start winding our way back towards Djuma. Liam was very impressed by the clearings. He's slightly distressed that I didn't find him a cheetah or quarantine, but you know, we might still find quarantine. I do wonder who that male leopard was that was seen on the dam wall earlier. And Lou de Lion, completely correct, of course. There's a peacefulness about the plains of Cheetah Plains, and it's good for the soul. It's the best for the soul. I agree with you completely. I'll just put some lights on so we can see into the bushes as the light starts to fade and another week comes to an end. Very fresh smell about the place. I think everything is going to smell fresh. The colours are going to feel brighter. The atmosphere is going to feel that much more relaxed and wonderful in the wake of that absolutely incredible sighting we had of Karula's little ones. Now, just on the naming of them, I'm being slightly facetious by calling them George and Charlotte, of course. The naming convention is basically that the rangers on whose property they were found will pick a name. Now, normally that only happens when the cubs are about to go independent or when they've reached a year old, and there's always great and, I have to say, fairly boring debate about who and why and what should, but we saw her as much as you did, so we should name her. And I mean, I find it all rather tiresome. But it normally only happens after about a year. Now, we are trying desperately to convince everybody that we should name them now, because why not? We're going to be viewing them, and you especially, our loyal viewers, who take such a wonderful interest in the animals out here, of course. Well, I'm pretty sure you'd want to name them before they're a year old. So that's the update there. The lions, I think, are starting to get moving. Let's go across to them.
So this lion who was on the back left has just come and walked right next to our car and literally gone to the toilet right next to us. He is awfully close to us right now, but we didn't move our car here. Well, we moved our car here, but he moved himself right next to our vehicle. So he's obviously very, very relaxed with being around the vehicle. that was on the top left, and I've already taken a note on the coloration of him. He had a very significant scar on the back. You can't see it, it's on the other side of his back. I just noted it. And I've also noted that he's got this significant black little part mohawk, like a big black spot at the back here. So I think I'm getting to know you a little bit better, my brother. Getting to know the Birmingham boys here. And as I've said, it's cooler this evening. It's much colder than it has been in the last couple of days. And so these lions could very well be active in the next 20 minutes. And hopefully, if we are very, very lucky, we'll be able to hear their dominant calls around the bush. It is a magnificent thing to hear. Ooh, one's yawn. I just had a massive yawn. Henry's asking, how would a lion go about trying to get into an existing coalition? Well, Henry, it's all dependent on the size of the coalition. Some coalitions will accept a member. Oh, one's up. Hello. Just having a good stretch. As I've said, this could be the opportunity where they begin to start moving. This one has a big grey mark on the back. On the front right there, can you see that? Can you zoom up to his front right arm? There's a black patch there. And he was in the front there. Black patch. There he's off. We have one lion that's up and walking. This is great news. As predicted, they're starting to wake up. They're starting to yawn. The one in the distance is just scent marked. One's getting up. There we go. He's going to stretch, I think. Oof, this is fantastic. We're going to be following these boys. The property to the top of us is Torchwood, so they very well might be leaving us now. But we're going to let them get up slowly but surely and not give them too much attention, just as we watch them walk ahead. Look there, they're about to send mark. That's the same bush that the first one sent marked on. There we go. Here comes the third one. I wonder if the third one will too. No. We've had, oh, there we go. So they're heading south, everyone. That's great news because that's still on our property. I'm going to head off and see if I can follow those ones. Hold on, everyone. We're going to go slowly through here. There's two vehicles that are here at the moment. I just have to update everyone with what they are doing. Stations, lions at Buffelshoek just got active. They've walked about 20 meters to the east towards the cut line, and no, they just got static now. Two stations currently at the Karula lock. You can make your way. So what's currently happening is we've got 1, 2, 3 lions that have walked approximately 50 meters. And there's one that's just behind us that is still sleeping. And I'm pretty sure that that lion is going to come and it's going to make its way towards us and walk around our vehicle. So we might just be sitting here for a little bit longer, probably about 5 minutes, I reckon, and then they're going to start heading north out of our property. Obviously, of course, I don't want them to head north away from us, but it would be quite interesting if they do stay on our property this evening. So I have no visual of the other one. Alice in Ohio has just asked me, will these Birmingham boys that are in front of us now be looking for their brother that has passed away? Well, I'm not too sure, Alice. I'm not too sure if they will go looking for their brother. I'm sure they will be finding out relatively soon that they have lost their brother. Otherwise, they could very well have already found that out. But we've just seen the other one has just come up the road and he's now parked off on the road just behind us. So if you're able to get a good shot of him there. Oh, it's right in front of the antenna. Hold on one second. Mia's asking us, will the adult males ever play? Here we go. We've got some action just in front of us with 2 male lions. They just played for a single second there. They bumped heads, and it was a nice bit of interaction that they just had with each other. I'm not going to move just because I feel that it's better if I stick to this position and let things unfold as they will around us. But yes, male lions will still play with each other. It's more in their youth that they will play with each other, purely because they are still learning how to use the different skills that they have, from pouncing to using their nails to all sorts of things. And playfulness will teach them many, many different things as they grow into their years. But as they grow older, that playfulness does kind of decrease. But there will always be moments where they will show aggression, or that may seem like aggression, but it's just them displaying dominance. And that form of dominance will help them strengthen their muscles and still be the powerful males that look after this reserve. Not this reserve, their territory. They will look after their territory. So we had a good little bit of action there. They got up a whole 20 meters and got out of here. There's the other one that's just beneath the tree there. So we're starting to learn a little bit more about these Birmingham boys. I've probably spent about 5 hours with them in the last three days. Very, very privileged. We would literally... While these lions are still all gone back to a very flat position, let's go and see how James, the Frodo Baggins, is doing.
Frodo is wandering about here, finding not very much, I have to tell you. While Samwise lurks around with the lions, we are driving through Cheetah Plains, not finding a great deal as the night has fallen. I have disappointed VM horribly. Well, yes, you were for a while, VM, but I was renamed Frodo by Sam. We have
Smeagol.
No, I'm not Smeagol. I will shine this in your face. Smeagol is a horrible character, not befitting someone of my sweet nature.
How sweet.
I'm very sweet, VM. An extremely sweet person. can't tell the viewers I'm not sweet. They're under the impression that butter would melt in my mouth. You see, this is the time of the day, everybody, when we start to talk utter nonsense, because there's nothing to show you of biological interest if nothing runs across the road or is seen in the bushes. There we go. And Dina, thank you very much. You've just disproven everything VM's ever said about me. You said you liked my sweet voice at the Karula Cub sighting. Thank you very much. And my excitement. I didn't have to put on any of that excitement. It was just so very, very exciting. Thank you, Dina, for that. Very kind compliment. See, VM?
I'll give the viewers.
No, you certainly can't. So one of the things that we sorted out, I mentioned earlier, was that we had a chameleon sighting, a midday chameleon sighting. Just spotted this bright green thing walking slightly strangely across the road and thought, that doesn't look like a leaf. And indeed it wasn't. It was a flat-necked chameleon. And we've had very few this year, I think on account of the drought. This is also obviously a very good time for you to ask any questions you have about Africa at large, the people of Africa perhaps, the different countries you might want to come to. And I think we've managed to clear up quite a few misconceptions over the last little while about the continent and the country that we live in. So if you have any questions like that, this is a great time to send them through in the absence of any kind of biological anomaly or interest. I would show you some trees, but they're not great at night time. James, you think I should write my own bird book and give them proper names, and I think it's a very good idea. And you also want to know what I would call a flamingo. I think I'd call a flamingo a long-necked pink. Pink should definitely be in the name. Neck should definitely be in the name. A long-necked pink wader. I think I'd call that's what it was. Long-necked pink wader. What would you call it, VM? VM normally has a one liner for something like this, which might result.
Giant pink waterbird.
There we go, giant pink waterbird. We might lose signal with you here. I hope we don't. But if we do, I apologize. We'll get it back fairly soon. Ooh, there's a bunny. That is an enormous bunny, everyone. A huge scrub hare. Let me just turn the other light too, rather than the spotlight. There. It's a really nice sighting of a scrub hare. Let's just have a listen to the night. I'm going to be quiet for about 30 seconds. That strident whistling you can hear, that I think is a water dickhop or water thickney. It's at the Cheetah Plains camp. Probably they've got a pan there in front of the camp. And you can maybe hear the call of the fiery-necked nightjar going. But otherwise, all is very quiet. You can see the last embers of the day there, just going down beyond the Cheetah Plains camp. That's the light there of Cheetah Plains. This is a lovely time of night. If you ever do come to the bush, everyone, it's a great time of the night to just sit and be quiet for a while. And in the camps, I remember when I used to work in a camp, it was always my favorite time of the night. If I wasn't out on game drive, I'd go and find a quiet spot, because the whole camp goes totally quiet. It's just like the animals do. The people tend to go totally quiet as well, just for a brief period before they get going for the kind of night activities that have to happen. On we go. Kirsten, I'm warning you, we may well lose signal. Is Samuel ready for a link, or shall I turn around? Ah, okay, let's quickly go across to Sam. I'm going to get out of this dodgy signal area. We'll see you the other side.
So we are sitting here with the male lion that is grooming himself. We have two lions just to the next, 3 lions next to us here. Look at that beautiful light that's on this lion as he grooms himself. That's a great shot. If you want to screenshot that, go for it. Hashtag Safari Live. Let us know what you think of this beautiful picture of this lion as it grooms itself this evening under what it seems to, for me, have been the most eerie day. It's been a very eerie day with the weather being quite cold. You know, yesterday was very hot, and today just suddenly got 10 degrees colder, put it that way. Expecting rain. You know, we saw leopard cubs. Well, I never got to see the leopard cubs, and I'm just so excited that you guys managed to see those leopard cubs. That must have been very special. Of course, tonight I'll go and have a look on all that feed to see those pictures, those screenshots that you all took. But I've had the privilege of spending a good fair amount of time with these Birminghams, and I feel like I know them a little bit better compared to what I knew them when I first met them at the beginning of the week. So they have eaten, so they might not be hungry, but we never know. They've been heading in a northerly direction. They walked approximately 50 meters. Ooh, here we go. That's exciting. Good little sneeze. And he's off. Is he going to get back down? What's he going to do? What are you up to, my man? And so the prediction is that they're going to get back down and have a rest. But they're going to head in a northerly direction, I reckon, towards Torchwood, and that'll be the last time that we see of them. For a while. But who knows? We might just be lucky enough to see the Birmingham boys for another four days. That would be quite strange. I hadn't seen a male lion for 3 weeks since I got here. And I've seen one every single day, and I've not just seen one, I've seen all 4 of them. Debbie in Vancouver is asking, now that the coalition has moved from 5 to 4, will this affect their ability to look after their territory? It's a good question, Debbie. Yes, it will most definitely influence their ability to protect the territory, purely because they no longer have that extra bit of strength and power that they used to have. So the other lions that are now going to be around these properties will start to see some fracks in the system of their dominance, and they could potentially want to take over this land that these Birmingham boys are protecting at the moment. But 4 male lions is still a very strong coalition, and they're not that old, so they have still some strength in them. And I mean, to be honest, I still have to get to know them a bit better. I've never seen them feeding, I've never seen them on a kill, so there's lots that I still need to learn about this coalition of boys. But Debbie, it's without a doubt going to influence their ability to protect this land. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start hearing some loud roars over the next couple of days as they show their dominance over the land. What a feeling it was to wake up yesterday morning to the sound of a lion roar. That was not far away from our camp. It must have been about less than a kilometer. I heard them. I got into my clothes as quick as possible, got into the vehicle and went out and found them by Sydney's Dam. And that's when we saw the hippo out of water. So we were very lucky to see a hippo out of water in the same shot as the Birmingham boys. But they've been resting here for most of the day. And I'm pretty sure they'll get going. Elaine from Michigan had such an interesting question, but I never managed to get the end of that. Chris, can you go back with that? So Elaine's question was, now that there's only 4 and not 5, will this increase the chance of these genes from these males to be passed on? Yes, of course. It'll increase their chances of spreading the seed from themselves. You know, because now that it's 4, no longer 5. And every single coalition has its own dynamic, its own way in which it is. So, for example, one lion might be more dominant in the coalition compared to the others. And I mean, the example that I'll give is when I was at Londolozi, we had a coalition there where one of them was called Dark Mane, and he was a lot more dominant to the other males. So when it came to mating with other females, he used to spread his seed more than the others. So it is very possible that the other male lion, I don't know what his status was in the coalition, but he could have had a strong status, and that might give chance now for the other lions to have an opportunity to spread their seed. But these lions are not going anywhere at the moment. There's a bush baby. Let's go and see what the bush baby's up to.
Look, just sneaking out of his little tree hole. I suspect the hole just below him there is where he lives. A little bush baby peering at us from underneath the leaves of this large marula tree on the main access road out of Cheetah Plains. Isn't he sweet? We went past a herd of elephants. They were eating bushes, which is what they do. And we left them because it's dark now. And we're looking for nocturnal creatures of the night. And there is one of them, quite commonly seen, the bush babies. And as we go towards the dry season, and the foliage on the leaves, foliage on the trees, starts to fall off, so our sightings of things like bush babies will become more frequent. They're much easier to see, of course, when they aren't fossicking about for insects in the thick foliage. Isn't that sweet? Cool. Have you had enough of that one, Vim?
You need to find a closer one.
Okay. Right. Okay. What if we just get closer to this one?
Fair enough.
Oh, this one's jumping now. Look. Look, he's going to jump. Got him there, Vim? Watch. Go! That is so cool. You've all asked me or wondered, I'm sure, when I've said that they're like gummy bears. Well, there we are. That's why we say they're like gummy bears. You see the way they jump. Look, and in the background you can hear the pearl-spotted owl going. His thick tail there. Now that tail is very important for him because it enables him to change direction slightly in mid-air. I think it's also fairly prehensile, which means that he's able to use it like a monkey does like a spider monkey can, to hold on to the branch that he happens to be feeding off. But I also think it's so heavy at the back there so that if he wants to change direction slightly in the air, he can swing it from side to side. It won't act so much like a rudder than like a sort of counterbalance. That is the lesser bush baby. We get two species here. The thick-tailed I've yet to see here. Makes a horrendous blood-curdling sound like it's being murdered. That's its normal call. And this chap is almost silent. Now, I was asked last night if they are marsupials, and they are not marsupials, but the question is a valid one, and it's an interesting one because they move like marsupials. They hop, they don't run. And animals that need to conserve energy often hop. It's one of the things that many marsupials do, and they do it, well, there we go. They do it because it uses the natural elasticity in the ligaments and tendons and muscles. And you can actually, if you hop and you time the hopping correctly, like these things do, or like a kangaroo or a wallaby does, it's actually much more energy efficient than running. And so in Australia, for example, which is amazingly nutrient deficient, very ancient landscape, no volcanic activity for probably millions of years, certainly hundreds of thousands. The soil is very poor, which means the plants are very poor in nutrients, which means efficiency is of the essence. And that's why so many things in Australia hop. And by the same token, something like this creature here is very small and therefore needs to conserve energy as much as possible, either by eating a fantastic amount and scurrying around at a great speed like a rodent, or by moving incredibly efficiently and sleeping most of the day, which is exactly what this thing does. Look at that tail. This is an impressive tail. So much so that if I didn't know better, I'd say this was the thick-tailed bush baby, but it isn't. It is the lesser bush baby, or galago. That's two fantastic bush baby sightings in 2 days. And Vicky, you're just agreeing with me. And like you say, normally just a blur in a tree. But today and yesterday evening, we've had 4 incredible bush babies in full view. Thank you, Viam. Well done. Good job. No stars, well, 1 or 2 stars tonight, but nothing particularly spectacular. This front that battered the Cape yesterday has come over the top of us. It's not cold. I mean, I've got a jacket on, but that's just a little bit of a covering on my skin. It's certainly not cold. Is it, Viam? Viam's lost his jacket, so you better hope it doesn't get too cold. Poor Viam. Righty, we're going down through a drainage line called the Molwanini, and that's between Cheetah Plains and Djuma, so we might lose you briefly, but we'll pick you up the other side again. Why are we doing that? Why not look at some lions?
Let's say, just wrap up the sighting here, and then if you could you please switch to James? We are still with the male lions here, and they took about, as I said, 50 meters, and then they sat back down. So they are still clearly quite tired, as I thought they would get up and start moving again. But it seems that they're not that interested in moving. But I hear that you've had an amazing sighting of a bush baby.
Maybe not.
Sorry, everybody, there's a white-tailed mongoose. We haven't gone through the drainage line yet, but we don't often see them. But there he is. That's the biggest mongoose that we get here. Might be the biggest anywhere, actually. And so named for his white tail. He's going to pounce, he's going to pounce. Either that or he's having a poo. What do you think? I think he is actually looking for something to eat. Oh, maybe a rodent. Or perhaps he's just looking at those insects that are flying above his head. He would happily eat those. That's a male, clearly. That's interesting. I've never seen that before. I think possibly that redness behind him is part of his anal gland. Very important part of the way these animals mark their territories is with that anal gland. I'm sure that's what that is. This is a wonderful sighting of a white-tailed mongoose. Wow, that was brilliant. Let's go back to the lions.
So we are sitting with the lions, and I actually need to make my way away from the sighting because there's another vehicle that would like to make its way. But I'm actually cornered in by these young male lions. So all we can do is appreciate their beauty for a couple more seconds, and hopefully they'll get up and show us that beautiful mane that they have. But you can see that mane, that backlighting of that. The backlighting of that mane, it's incredible. Look at that. That's amazing. There we go, he's up. He's gonna have a little scratch. Look at that backlighting. If you want to have a screenshot, go for it, because that, I'll tell you now, I'd be taking screenshots. Look at that, that is awesome. Wow, look at that. Look at them stretch, I think it's time. Here they go. There goes the first one, straight into the bushes. Here comes the second one. Look at the backlighting on this one as it comes. Wow. There it goes. A third look at that. That's incredible. Look at that. The mane in that light is great. So there goes 3 of the Birmingham boys. Okay, station. I need to get out of the sighting because I've had my time here. So I'm just going to leave. Awesome. I'm going to be leaving the sighting. Cool. Okay. What's the next road down there? Cheetah cut line. Yeah. All right. Thank you, bud. We've had such a great afternoon with the Birmingham boys. What is most likely going to happen now is they're going to head in a northerly direction towards Cheetah Cut Line, where we're probably going to lose them into Torchwood. But what a fantastic thing that we were able to sit with them just towards the end of their time here on our property. So we're going to leave that. I just need to let everyone know that we're leaving the sighting. stations, I'll be making my way to Cheetah Cut Line and then heading in a southerly direction. I won't be following up on the lines, but I'll see if I see them. All right. That was that. That's a wrap, everyone. Great sighting of those lines. How was that backlighting that was on them? Incredible. I hope you guys managed to get some good screenshots. I think everyone's I think it's Ashley from Missouri. Sorry, I can't quite. Hey, firm, yeah, so I got that right. You're asking Ashley what we do afterwards when we get back from camp. Ashley, we often talk about the sightings and we talk about all the different things that we saw, and we sometimes try not to talk too much about work because it's the one opportunity that we get to relax in the evening. So we sit down, have supper, and we just have a good chat with everyone. And there's about 20 of us in camp. At any given time, it changes between less than 20 and above 20. And it's really exciting. We always have good, interesting chats. It's always great. Always a lot of humor in the evenings, actually. I was very intimidated when I first came because, you know, have you ever had that feeling when you go into a new place and it's a whole bunch of new people and it's a new environment? And, yeah. But it's not intimidating once you're there for about 5 hours. Everyone in camp is very nice. All the ladies are very sweet. And James and Jamie and Brent and the cameraman have helped me so much with my training and, well, not my training. I haven't been training, but I've just, in terms of being a presenter, I don't really know what that's like until I've just done it now. So I've managed to relax a lot because of all the great people in camp. Alright, so we are on Cheetah Cut Line. Lucy in, I think it's South Bend, Louisiana. Indiana. So I've actually got a new earpiece this evening because my other one, oh cool, is that an owl? We just saw something fly ahead of us. I just want to see if we can spot it. I'll come back to your question now, but I really want to see what that was. So I think that was an owl that just jumped through. Not jumped through, flew through. Didn't quite see it, but the lines are walking at the moment parallel to us, somewhere through the thick bush here. So we very well might see them pop through. If we do, we're very lucky, but at this point, I highly doubt it. But just going back to your question about what is our closest town to this area, and the closest town that we have is about an hour and a half away, and it's called Hoedspruit. It's not a very, well, I don't know it very well. I've actually only driven through it on my way from Cape Town. See, I'm from Cape Town, which is, if you had to drive to Cape Town, it would probably take you about 3 days to get there. So I'm very far away from this area. So I don't know Hoedspruit at all, but I just know that it's a good, convenient place to get all the different things that you need. Otherwise, I spend all my time here, which is exciting. But I haven't seen a bush baby yet. I would love to see a bush baby. So that means me paying attention to the bush around us. And we need to pay attention. Edwin, a new viewer. It's always exciting to hear that a new viewer is online. And you asking, where are we filming from, Edwin? We are filming from Juma Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands, which is in the northeast of Southern Africa. The Sabi Sands is 60,000 hectares big, and we are currently traversing on about 1,000 hectares, Juma. We also have the ability to traverse on cheetah plains and Arathusa. So I'll say it again, we are in the northeastern part of Southern Africa, home to the savannah. So we have 9 different biomes in South Africa, which is incredible. That means that we have an unbelievably biologically diverse country. So where I live in Cape Town is fynbos, beautiful fynbos plants, which are succulents, home to the Cape sugarbird and many, many other sunbirds. Outside my room in Cape Town, I listen to the sound of those sunbirds and I love it. But the other biomes are all incredibly rich. We have the Karula biome. The succulent Karula is where I lived for a couple months, working for the Cape Leopard Trust, looking for Cape leopards and looking for caracals. Have you ever heard of a caracal? It is my favorite cat, and I've never seen it before. I've once gone looking for cubs of the caracal, but never have I seen the caracal, and hopefully one day I'll be given that opportunity. But you also get the forest biome and the great Karoo, many different types of biomes. There's also a place called Outeniqua, which is home to, or otherwise known as Knysna, and they get Knysna elephants there that live in the forests around Knysna, which is on the coastline of South Africa, on the east coastline. But South Africa is an incredibly biodiverse area, and if you're looking to come and travel here one day, I highly recommend it. As you know, you'll meet a whole bunch of different cultures, you'll meet new landscapes that will show you a different side to them, and so you'll have a great time. But with that, it's been a fantastic day, and we've had such a great time, eh, Dave, watching those Birmingham boys for the last 4 days. I'll be surprised if we see them again. Thank you, Kirsten. And we'll see you all for the rest of this week. Myself and James will be going every single day, twice a day for the next week. And so I'll be seeing lots of you. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening.
I was trying to do a start in the darkness, but I became afraid that I was going to drive into something, so I turned the lights on. Liam also became afraid that I was going to drive into something and whack him over the top of the head, which is a very valid fear. Get out of the way. That is a striped thickney, everyone. And it has very clearly got a death wish of some sort, flying off in front of us. I don't want to shine the light on him, you see, because I think he'll struggle to land, but there we go. Donna, you want me to do an imitation of a bush baby? Bush babies don't say anything, Donna, the lesser bush baby, but the thick-tailed bush baby, Donna, makes a blood-curdling scream. It goes, I'm not sure I can do this. Turn the sound down, Liam. I'll cover my microphone. It goes, ah! Ah! Other coughing bit. That's exactly what it sounds like. It's a horrendous, horrendous noise. How many out of 10, Kirsten? She gave me 5.5 out of 10. She, of course, has never heard a thick-tailed bush baby, so she doesn't know what she's talking about.
I will give you at least 8.
Thank you very much, Liam. Liam gives me 8. If you don't know what the sound is, and you're sitting peacefully having an evening snifter as the stars sort of emerge into the inky sky, and you suddenly hear that thing screaming above your head in the roof, it is, well, it's terrifying. You're likely to say a bad word and throw your drink up suddenly. Oh, listen. It's in this tree. There's a Scops owl in this tree. I've yet to see one here. Oh, it's right here. They're so difficult to see, so camouflaged. Let me go back a little. He's right here. We've got 2 minutes to spot him, everyone. Let me just turn this light onto here. Oh, come on, you're right in this tree. I can't see him, everyone. And you hear there are two of them. Boop, boop. Slightly different tone. No. Niggies. No, he's in the deep, thick foliage there, I'm afraid. Anyway, lovely to hear him call like that. We've only got a minute left, everyone, so let's just sit here and just recap what has been a spectacular, spectacular day of little baby leopards. The Queen has brought her prince and princess onto Djuma, and I hope they're going to stay here for a good long time and that we will watch them grow with the joy that they gave us today. And of course, the other thing we did today was go to Cheetah Plains and show VM Cheetah Plains. You enjoyed it, did you, VM?
Yes.
Did you think it was the most amazing thing you've ever done? Almost. Well, that's pretty good. All right, everyone, we've got about 25 seconds left. I hope that you are happy and safe wherever you are. Thank you for talking to us for the course of the afternoon. It was wonderful to have you along for a real adventure today. Big thanks to VM, big thanks to Kirsten and Louise in the final control, and of course to Samwise Gamgee and the erstwhile David. We will see you tomorrow at 0600. Bye-bye.